Hi, it's Mike with AskTractorMike.com. I did a really dumb thing in this video, and I decided to leave it in because, number one, I can't recut it, and number two, it shows how sometimes my brain doesn't work too well. It could have been a disaster. It turned out okay in the end, but I'll see if you can notice what I did. At the end of the video, I'll show you. My story today is about tires. I have a Massey Ferguson 362 tractor that I inherited from my dad. We had a apple orchard, peach orchard that we used small tractors on growing up, and Dad passed away in 2007. I had two tractors, an older Case IH tractor that I sold, and this Massey tractor, and you'll see it in some of my videos. Nice little tractor. It sits low to the ground, it's stable on the hills. I love it, but I haven't been using it because the tires on it were shot. And you may have seen a video I did a while back where I tested a product to see if it would hold over weather cracks. And it worked great, but there were so many weather cracks, and the tires were so old. They're the original equipment tires on the tractor, and I think the tractor's a 92 or 93. It's maybe 94. It's got some age on it, whatever year it is. This summer, I noticed that the tire was starting to go flat, and the patches were in one place, and the tire was going down in another, and there's fluid in the tires, and there was no fluid coming out, so I kind of knew which crack was leaking. And I'll have to say, the product that I used to patch the tires held, but the one I didn't patch let loose. And so the tire went flat, and that tractor weighs quite a bit. It's got cast wheels on it, and the tires were fluid filled. So I agonized over what do I do about this. I don't have a trailer or a truck heavy enough to tow it or to haul it. I've got a neighbor that had a trailer that hauled it before. We hauled it from the farm up here, and he's sold that trailer, and he's got a car hauler now. So we don't have a trailer any way to get it to a tire place. So a couple of weeks ago, I aired the tires up. I jacked the tractor up, aired the tires up, and I found out that the leak must have been really, really slow, and I could hear it, and I could tell which crack it was coming out of when I put air in it, but when the tube and the tire came together, it sealed, and I let the jack down after I filled it up and let it sit a couple of days, and it wasn't leaking. So I knew I could keep air in there, but I knew my days were numbered with these tires, and it was time to replace them. Well, I stopped at the local tire company because they're not that far from me. And I was calculating how much it would cost to have somebody come out with a truck, load the tractor up, take it to a tire place, let them put new tires on it, and then hire the guy to bring it back. They don't have any way of transporting tractors at the tire place, and they don't do mobile service, but they're only 2.1 miles away from me. So I went up there and I asked them, can you get tires now? Because I know still the supply chain disruptions after COVID is still affecting some products. Well, they told me they could. And they said you got really two choices. You could get a 4-ply tire, and the price on it was like $525. Or there's a heavier tire, a name brand, that are 8-ply. You could get for like, I want to say it was $800 or $900 a tire. And I'm kind of cheap. That sounded a lot because I don't use this tractor much. And I said, well, that's a tough choice. They said, oh, there is one other thing. There's a Backhoe tire you could put on it, an R4 Backhoe tire that's 12-ply. And I said, well, how much is it? Thinking it's going to be higher than the name brand 8-ply. They said it's $100 more than the 4-ply. Not a name brand, 12-ply tire, R4. And so I said, you know, that might be the way I go. Now tell me, am I making a bad move here? But that's what I decided to go with. And I said, we'll order them in, and you can look at them when we look at the tire tread and see what you think. Well, when they came in, I went up and looked at them, and I'm like, I think that'll work. If I was in soil conditions and doing tillage and things like that, I would probably need a more aggressive tread. But where I'm at, we've got rocks, and you don't sink down much. It's a 2-wheel drive tractor, but I think that R4 tire, that Backhoe tire with 12-ply will be great. The 12-ply may keep me from getting locust needles up in it, spikes. And so that's what I decided to go to. And they were like $625 a tire. Now, I could get the tractor up there because it's 2.1 miles away. And my thought was, fuel up the tractor, make sure there's air in the tires, and head down the open road. And that's what I did. Before I left, I tried to think of everything safety-wise I could, but I was kind of fixated, my brain was, on that tire. Will that tire with those cracks make it all the way up there at road speed? So I got my handy-dandy strobe light out that alerts other cars that there's a tractor there, put it on the roll bar, lit it up, and off I went. Now see if you can notice what I forgot, because it's something major. So anyway, I'm driving down the road. I go on a Sunday morning. There's quite a bit of traffic. We're at the end of tourist season in the Ozarks, and there's quite a bit of traffic. But I drove down the country road, and then I got on the main road. And when I got to the middle end of my country road, I'm about halfway there, but I've got to go by a Walmart and Wendy's and quite a few businesses to get to the tire store. And I was praying that I didn't have a blowout with the tire on the way, but I got lucky. I didn't go very fast, took my time, had just let the cars go around me, and I got to the tire place. And last week they took the fluid out of the tires, stored it, took the tires off, put the new tires on, and now the tractor's good to go. And this morning, this Sunday morning, early, I went up there, I'd already paid them, and hopped on the tractor and drove it home with my wife following me. Went without a hitch. But I got home and I'm admiring how much I like these tires, and I notice one problem. It's the most critical thing you need on your tractor if you drive down the road. It's the SMV, or slow moving vehicle triangle. That's required by law to be on your tractor, and I forgot to put it on there. And the reason is, if you're hauling your tractor, which I hauled it up here a couple of years ago, you've got to have that off the tractor, because once it's on a trailer going down the road, two things: it could blow off, and it's not a slow moving vehicle anymore. So I took that off, forgot to put it back on, but I made it back home. If you're going to take your tractor anywhere on the open road, first thing you do, Tractor Mike, remember this, is to put your SMV sign on the back of your tractor. I forgot. Bad boy, bad. Okay, most of you probably caught that. Now, I got a question for you. Here's the new tires. Now, make a wise decision or a dumb decision. What would you do? $100 more for 12-ply R4 tires? Or go with the 4-ply ag tires or the name brand 8-ply tires? Put it in the comments down below. And what do you think about me roading that thing up to the tire store? Saved a bunch of money in trucking, but if one of those tires had blown out on the way, and they could have, as old as they are, I'd have been in a mess. I had a neighbor and a friend that I would have called had I had any problem. They were on standby, but I got up there and back with no problem.